Time to spice it up a little bit. We always tend to give our thoughts on a lot of stuff here at the War and Rascals, but we're going to try and do some general reviews, whether it's just one of us or both of us. I was going to have Erik join me on this, since spoilers. Sorry, Erik, not sorry. His 2016 Game of the Year was, well, 2016's Doom. And my 2020 Game of the Year was Doom Eternal. But this loser says he's not good at jumping on new games and finishing them in time. Haha. So I guess I'll just go solo on this one. You know, when Doom goes strictly to just single player too. Oh, what a terrible way to Doom the Dark Ages follows up the aforementioned Doom Eternal from 2020, yet throws it back, serving as a prequel to the 2016 Doom, bringing with it the aesthetic of the Dark Ages themselves and changing up the formula once again. However, with the raised expectations, does Doom the Dark Ages finish off this trilogy with a bang? I mean, I'd certainly say so. Doom 2016 brought the fast-paced blood and gore fest to the modern first-person shooter market. Doom Eternal kept things almost the same, but with more emphasis on movement, using every weapon for certain situations and different kinds of enemies, and high-flying combat and platforming, quotations around platforming. Doom the Dark Ages is practically a hybrid of the two. In this iteration, you move around pretty much like a tank. There's no high flying in this, and when you do, you're basically just falling onto a group of enemies and crushing and destroying them. Even though they went to great lengths to make yourself feel big and imposing, the combat loop still has a quickness to it due to the parry system, hence the shield. You get a shield which functions basically like the double barrel shotgun from Eternal. You block attacks with it, you can throw it because it has like a chainsaw around the rim, and you can use it as a shield bash, which gets you moving around pretty quickly, and all these are used with the parry system that is included in the game. The Dark Ages also has a fun twist on some beloved Doom guns into a fresh new look that is very streamlined. There's 6 guns total, and each of them has an alternative mode, so basically double that number, as well as a fun spin on the BFG. You also get some cool maces as the game progresses as well, but let me say it does take a little bit to get used to the combat loop, I feel like, in this game, but once you do, it feels so good. Id, once again, just knocks it out of the park. There's also challenges to complete for new cosmetics and upgrades to improve your arsenal that ranges from a grenade and / rocket launcher to a freaking gun that grinds up skulls and shoots them at enemies. That's pretty dope. 2 new components to the game this time around are the introduction of mechs and a freaking dragon. Atlan mechs basically function as the Doomslayer, but even bigger and with more destruction. The parry system comes over here to help you as well, charging up ultimate hits and finishers. These sections are spaced out nice, and once again, they make you feel like you're this giant Jaeger-like mech punching and stomping around. The dragon gameplay handles smoothly too, helping you get from one area to the next, or chasing down ships. Functions the same as the Doomslayer or Atlan. You parry an enemy, kill said enemy, rinse, and repeat. So this is again a prequel to Doom 2016, and like my terrible joke to start off this video, there's no multiplayer, so this time it's strictly all on campaign and story. I like the aesthetic a lot. It gives me a lot of like Gears of War vibes with the mixing of, you know, the Dark Age style and the grimy space look of the previous 2 Doom games, the 2 modern Doom games. Being juxtaposed is really cool. Like I think it works really, really nice. There's some cool little aesthetic choices, like again with the dragon with kind of the revving engines on its wings. It's awesome. There's sort of a familiarity to certain elements as well, but there's enough to make it stand out on its own as a unique vision for the Doom world, in my opinion. And this helps a lot with telling a story that, I'll be honest, it didn't wow me. Maybe my expectations of a single player only experience and the emphasis on cutscenes and characters set me up, but it's very typical and wasn't so engaging for me. I will say the setup is actually really interesting and cool. The opening, the first couple missions, the way it sets up Doomslayer in this world is very cool and unique. And I think the final leg of the game, which I'm not going to spoil, has some cool choices and pacing that I personally found really cool as well. Something like Space Marine 2, which this had similarities to as well, did a little bit more for me, but that's also because the main trio of characters have personalities and aren't just a conduit for everything around them. The music in this game is also just a little okay for me. I'm not going to stay on this too long because I definitely feel some kind of way about how Mick Gordon was treated, but I feel like Finishing Move do a decent job with the intensity of the previous two scores and provide a rocking background to the destruction and violence. Although it did feel like it was treading some familiar waters here and there. I wish there was a bit more of a Dark Ages sprinkle in there. Like, I think that would have been really sick. I can't think off the top of my head if there was, but nothing really stood out in that way. Level design also sort of pulls from Eternal, where it gives you maps that you can go all around for backtracking, but also expands it so you can handle things in whatever order you want. There are missions with multiple levels and sections too, but they also have maps where it's like this decent sized linear section, which then takes you to a new map that can change it up or stay the same, which is the same mission in that way. There was a few times where the option to go back basically wasn't available, so if you miss some secrets, you'll definitely need to start the mission over to finish your 100% playthroughs. Location variety can be a bit tiring as well. Maybe this is just coming from Eternal having such a wide range of places you went. I would say this is more of a personal gripe, honestly, and there are some cool set pieces that I want you all to experience. Again, especially in the second half of the game, there are some really cool things that, again, I don't want to spoil here or show you, but are definitely worth it. So, at this point, I would say the definitive question is just, where does this stand amongst the previous modern 2 Doom games? Well, I would still say Eternal is better than the Dark Ages myself. I personally think Doom Eternal is just near perfect. The gameplay loop, variety of levels, the loose lore that didn't try to do more than Shroud, Doomslayer, and Mystery, it was fantastic. I do enjoy this more than 2016 though, and that's for the simple fact that it basically functions like Eternal with Eternal gameplay, but on the ground instead of the air. Overall, I'd say this is a great game that surprisingly packs a lot for simply being a single-player only Doom game. There's 22 missions that feel lengthy, lots to do, tons to find and collect, and there's some other stuff here like mastery skins for all the guns once you fully upgrade them, different difficulties, stuff like that. I will say the new gameplay loop definitely takes a bit to get used to, and I was nervous because there's so much you can do. In Eternal, there's a lot you can do, but I felt like there was a way that it was streamlined, whereas in this, they sort of give you a lot of different options, and there's a lot of different button mechanics to use. And again, the parry system is kind of the heart of all that, and there's multiple uses for all your stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. There's a certain muscle memory to it. But honestly, I think it all works well together once you get into it, and plenty of options for you to try, and again, all the different parry skills and the dual-use guns, and I haven't even gotten to the different shield runes where you can unlock different abilities for parrying with your shield. It's great. I will say, I guess like with Doom 3 and now the Dark Ages, the third installments just swing for the fences. And look, this isn't as extreme as Doom 3 with being a survival horror game, but I would definitely say check this out if you have the chance. Lots to like here. And again, it just shows why id somehow makes defining, cutting edge, and well-made first-person shooters in 2025. It's crazy. It's awesome. If any of you played Doom, the Dark Ages, what do you think? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Again, I'm going to see how these kind of videos work out. I'll try more, with explaining maybe a little bit more in detail. I was trying my best to try and remember everything, because again, this is sort of a different thing for me, like especially when I do album reviews or classic album reviews on my solo channel. It's a little strange for me, and it's more like little notes here and there. And again, I hope that my point got across pretty well. I was going to start off with South of Midnight, but that didn't pan out, so I need to get cleaning that office so I can have a nice setup for all these kinds of videos we're trying to do now. It's exciting. So I appreciate you all for watching. If you please like and please subscribe. Since there's no other reviews to the point you two, I'm going to put up the links for the 2016 and 2020 Gotti casts, so you can see our thoughts on the other 2 modern Doom games. So check those out, and who knows, maybe Eric will join me next time like the slippery sumbitch he is. Well, okay. Until next time, toodaloo!